Meeting of the Douglas Historic Commission. What's today?
February 7th,
February 7th,
5:04.
5:04 PM. David Metz.
Sarah Diamond.
Don Fontaine.
Rebecca LaValle.
And how do we want to proceed? Do we want to first go with our guests?
So, all right, well, first, let's, I have agendas for everybody.
Oh, thanks.
And we can approve the December 28th meeting minutes, which I have here. I don't have them for everybody, so.
I've got them on here,
Yeah.
so
Right.
if,
Yeah, which you probably already read them, but they're there if you want to read them.
Oh, thank you.
Where am I going? I'm going into this one.
Wow,
What? You don't appreciate all my work, right? You read
it's
it.
amazing.
You're very thorough, Dawn.
That's right.
I meant,
Did I spell everything right, too?
I meant to send an email. I agree with the changes you made to the annual report, and I'm A-okay with it moving forward.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, was on one of the things I meant to.
Yep, I think I got your note from that. Yeah.
Okay. When, that's due like 2 days or something, right?
Yeah, it's on the 9th. I have submitted it, but I did note your comments and the rest of it. And they all seem to be happy with the
Okay.
information for the commission.
Should I throw this agenda in front of the door for, because there's an agenda for the meeting at
Sure.
7 there now?
Oh, yeah, sure you can.
Okay.
All right. I've looked over the minutes. They look good to me.
Same here.
Okay.
And I think I was already good.
Okay, so I think we can have our first potential member come up. Sarah and David, do you want to?
I gave them, I.
We already have-
Oh, you printed for everybody, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Scott Dale Garland.
all right, Scott, you're up.
You're the
Nice
first
and prompt, you made it
contestant.
before me.
I'm not too often a GA is the first in alphabetical order.
Oh, yeah, I know. We're not talking that many people, right? So, all right. So, Scott, we've met before. I'm Dawn Fontaine. I'm the secretary of the Historic Commission, and David Metz is the chair, and he and I have probably been on this group the longest, which is kind of embarrassingly long.
I just saw the thing in the town report, 30 years.
30 years for you?
I just made 5. I was excited about that.
Yeah, I'm probably not 20, but it's been
You're
over
probably close to
10.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
For your many years of service.
Yeah. I'm ready to retire from both the commission and from regular work. So we're looking for some new blood. Doesn't have to be young blood. Experience is
Not that
fine.
he's not young.
And I see you certainly have a good history of involvement with the town. Do we want to describe, you asked me to do a,
Yeah, just kind of tell them what we do
Right,
and what our mission is.
there's a Historic Society and there's a Historic Commission. We're tasked with actually, whenever possible, preserving town properties, archives, monuments, could be things that are not buildings, even like the town common with
Right.
cemeteries often in the woods. And when we get occasional requests from the town, there may be 1 or 2 buildings that are derelict and not in good enough shape to be preserved. They contact us to say, can this be demoed, be preserved? I think we've only lost maybe 2 or 3 in
Yeah.
the 30 years I've been involved.
Right.
where the properties are, there's no ownership. The town doesn't want to keep them on the payroll. If they become a liability to the town, so they actually get torn down. But it's only happened a few times.
Yeah.
Also, there's properties where they're doing some rehab. There may have been some damage. We had a property a couple of years ago that,
Are you talking,
the big place up on Depot Street that had a fire.
yep,
And so when there's a rehab work being done, they'll submit that to us
Sure.
for review and say, do you approve of this? Does it fit with the criteria for staying within the Historic Commission guidelines, et cetera?
the real estate agency, when it moved from being Digger's Liquors to the real estate agency, they got a hold of us to
Right.
see what we could find for original
Right.
pictures, that type of
And that
stuff.
building looks great.
Yeah, they did a
Yeah, that
wonderful
was
job with that. We
definitely
wish we had
an
more like that.
Really,
Fantastic job. We had all sorts of historic, and they did a restoration work to actually restore some of the details
yeah, it was
that were
very,
there.
we watched every day.
Good.
Great detail.
So that's 90% of what we do. As you probably know, we're in the process of finishing up the downtown East Douglas Historic District as a historic district. We did the old town common about 15, 20 years ago. That's in place. And now we're trying to finish up the downtown district, which has many more properties. And they're kind of spoke, there are multiple eras. There's a few pre-industry properties, and then most of it is the mill properties, and then there's getting into mid-century modern,
Post-World War II property.
post-World War II properties that are still actually viable
Yep.
towards that. So that's the bulk of what we do. Feel free to add.
Yeah, I was thinking about the property on Depot Street too, where like, we don't really interact with a whole lot of other groups that much, building facilities, you might think that would come up, but we sort of end up operating kind of independently, and we don't usually have an audience to our meetings. And and then we'll meet, we should meet monthly, but we're more like quarterly that
Yeah.
we're meeting, because there's no one that's like waiting to build something, or like if something
Yeah.
has to be torn down, we'll end up doing it
Understood.
in an email chain. Betsy Youngsma, I'm like pointing like she's here. Like, she's technically another member, but she's going to be stepping down. She just doesn't have the time to commit to it, but she's always been a really good member.
And she did a lot of work with the cemeteries.
Yep.
Yeah.
throughout town,
Yeah, that's
which
one
there are
thing
many,
that
many.
does, which Sarah has done too.
Some that are off in the woods
Yeah.
that almost nobody knows about.
Right. So in the downtown historic district is one that has been like the thing that's been taking up all of our time more than anything else. And it's, was the, what's the other district called?
Douglas Center.
Douglas Center, thank
Or
you.
Old Douglas,
So that was
it's-
like late,
mid-1990s, that one got completed.
okay. And then the
No, so
conceptualization was.
The downtown is already ready?
No, the Old Douglas
Oh.
Center, which is up by the First Congregational
Oh.
Church in the gazebo.
Okay, yeah.
So in 1989, there was a historic inventory done of all of the properties in town. It had to be older than 50 years. Jumping off from that inventory, two separate sections were created, the Old Douglas Center and Downtown Douglas. Old Douglas Center got completed. It was a lot less properties. I want to say it wasn't even 100. The Downtown Douglas, we've gone from 415 properties to 230.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of parsing down.
So
So
we've
it's
been
just such a
yeah.
huge area to try and figure out how to do it with two different mill time periods and then other time periods scattered within.
So we've worked with the Massachusetts Historical Commission a little bit, talked with them, not in person, but emails and
Emails.
calls and so forth. And there's certain forms that need to be completed and then photos that need to go with that. So there's a lot of like using the inventory that Becky mentioned. And, some of us have taken photos, some of us have gotten them online, some of us have grabbed maps and kind of putting these together to make a story and to submit it to the MHC without it getting rejected. So that's the thing that we're sort of most in the process of right now. Someday it will be finished.
The problem is we are going to need funding from the town, so that's going to be another
I'm
hurdle.
curious if, do you have a hand in recommending street names?
No, that's never come up.
No, and the town, as you probably know, a lot of the towns, a lot of the streets in town used to have different names, and then they were changed to tree names,
Right.
probably early 20th century, late 19th century. So elm, maple, whatever, they had
Right.
different names. If you look at old maps, they had very different names.
Which is
Yeah,
appropriate.
mine had a different name.
In Upton, they,
Yeah, see,
the commission was very active in, they had a list of names, and then they would go literally by the designated, which part of town the application was from.
Okay.
And they would, your person had to be, long deceased, 100 years.
Right.
And for a reason for it being names rather than like,
Most of the ones that are like, a good example, Bowen Court was based on the Bowen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them were based on either who the builder was or who kind of started in that, who's really had the
Exactly,
first house.
yeah.
So in Upton, Scott, they would use like someone who'd been like a town and founding father kind of thing.
Right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other thing too, is when we get through this, say, we're probably talking a year, honestly, to finish the district that we're inventorying, then we'll have the time, the bandwidth to do other things too. So it's like, Sarah's brought some stuff up, like with doing some stuff, with the cemeteries. We wanted to maybe do some signs related to, no one knows about the center district because there's no signs there, like maybe, I don't know if it's fundraising. We haven't really done fundraising. We've got a little bit of money in our coffers.
But I think we're definitely looking more to highlight besides just making them historic districts, highlighting and showing people what they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So we'll have to go before the town at some point and get a little money for a consultant, because it's really, the MHC is like, don't do it without a consultant,
Right,
you'll be
right.
sorry.
You're a former fire chief?
yes. Yeah. 16 years
Yep.
between Upton and Hopedale.
Yep.
Nice.
Well,
And I retired in 2010, and I served 3 years on Douglas Fire as
this one
a
looks like, 2009,
firefighter
2013.
EMT.
Okay, great.
Nice.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Any more questions for us?
No, I'm just curious of how detailed you get. If you're meeting quarterly, it's, and you're working on a district, your plate must be pretty full.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff gets done offline, honestly. Like we've had David and
Yeah.
I, or Becky and I have had like working sessions where we're like, let's get these all pumped out, or we'll split up the form that we need to do and,
Right.
alphabetically or whatever the case may be.
I just, I live in a historic home in town since 2007.
South Street.
Yeah, on South Street, and just learning the history of that property. And then I've been involved, I minored in U.S. history, Northeastern.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm the archivist over at the library, so a lot of the offline stuff we do kind of coincides with what I'm doing in the archive anyway, so I'm able to get a lot of the behind-the-scenes
Yeah,
stuff.
so I've been to the Historical Society, which, I was a charter member, actually, of the Upton Historical Society in 1964, believe it or not. And I was the president for 10 years there. And, but, I tried to go to the Historical Society, and then I wanted to go to the library. They told me to go to the library, but I was trying to research properties for historical reasons. And
Well,
it was not,
Needs the
I
building
couldn't get too far.
well, a lot has changed since 2016, when I
1964, too.
Well, when I started at the library, so historical property research has gotten much easier. I've tried to streamline a lot of it, make sense of a lot of stuff, which is, like I said, has worked very well into working on the historic district, because I'm able to get a lot of more information
Right.
at my hands.
And I distinctly understand the difference between the commission and the society.
Okay.
Being
Okay, great.
private, I understand about holdings and, but, you know, I keep referencing Upton, but in Upton, they worked closely together in trying to accomplish a task. So whether or not it was to produce a pictorial history, the commission had, you know, their limitations on what they could do, but they could still provide assistance in bringing it all together.
Right.
I worked for years, even though I was on the society at the time, helping the commission preservation of documents, because
Oh,
the
great.
town hall was just an absolute mess.
Imagine
Yeah.
that.
Thousands and thousands of thousands of documents, all the way back to the Revolutionary War,
Yeah,
just
that-
thrown
that's-
into a pile and rotting away. So,
That's one of the things, like
Well,
that.
that's upstairs here too, right?
Yeah.
you know, the
that-
the
that is-
parameters of that is pretty detailed. And then
Right.
getting down to being able to determine which ones you can legally destroy
Right, exactly.
and how to destroy them.
Right.
So that was pretty interesting. We spent
Yeah.
about 10 years doing that, but,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've
Destroyed
gone,
by fire?
well, no. They made some great Boy
That
Scout
way.
projects, Eagle Scout projects.
Yeah.
Because every time someone would come up for an Eagle Scout project, oh, we
You're
have.
like, I got one for you.
See that
How much time
corner,
do you
see
have?
that corner of the room? over there?
Okay.
But yeah, Becky's really good at the archival part of things and keeping it really organized. And when we have met at the library, she's been able to like do overlays of the maps we're working on and all that kind of thing. So,
Right.
I'm a geek, I enjoy this
yeah,
kind of stuff a lot.
yeah. So like questions for you, Scott. I don't know if there's like something that you would like to see happen, or like if we haven't totally outlined this project, but if there's something that you could see yourself doing on, say, the
I
historical
mean, one of my
project?
greatest interest is preservation of historical historical documents, properties, certainly.
Yeah.
Seriously, the view of the town, so that
Yeah.
you graduate from Hopedale High School, and you're a kid growing up here, and you walk downtown, you go to get an ice cream up the street, and that you can come back in 25 years,
It remains
and
that
it
way.
that building may not be there necessarily, maybe something else, but the road is still aligned the same way.
Yeah.
And there's something important to say about that, when you can come
Right.
back, always come back home. That's what we kind of went with the theme.
An interesting anecdote. 20 or more years ago, Boston was planning a, let's call it, what's the major airport?
Logan?
Logan West, in the Douglas State Forest.
Oh, yeah, they did that in Upton, too.
Yeah, because it was a
Yes.
huge, flat
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
undeveloped, whatever.
Right.
And so there were planes flying over, they were doing aerial photographs, everything else. And Richard Moore, our congressman or selectman, or
no.
senator
Senator.
at the time, said, contacted them and said, you realize you're in the Blackstone Valley National Heritage Corridor. As soon as those, just said, okay, hands off, they backed right out. They realized there was no way they were going to make that work and not get such incredible feedback. They would never do
Yeah.
it. So that corridor protection
Absolutely.
still remains
Yep.
in the area.
I was appointed representing Upton by Richard Moore in 1985. I served on the committee for 3
Yeah.
years.
Oh, good.
And it led to the preservation of the Upton State Forest.
Yes.
As well.
Fantastic. I love that
A
place.
great group.
Yeah.
And that was really driven from that effort for the Logan West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knows that story.
Yeah.
I love this guy.
Thank you.
So it's all very intertwined, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be, I don't know, I'm learning more about it. I don't have necessarily a historic background, but I love it. I want to preserve it. And, just seeing what, like we've seen with the downtown, like looking at the buildings, when we took a photograph and inventory 25 years ago, it really hasn't changed a whole lot, but we also there's probably more things that we can do to preserve it.
Yeah, it
and
looks
let
like the big
people
change
know.
happened 1921 after the Great Fire.
Yeah.
Right around 1921. That's when you lost a lot of
Yeah.
downtown.
So
character.
really going late 1800s through the 1920s, there were multiple fires that took quite a bit out. We lost the original Thayer block, we lost the center block, we lost quite a few blocks. And other ones have popped up in their place. There was also a lot of facial changes throughout the 1990s. You look at the buildings on Main Street and the faces of them have changed greatly, became more modern, taking away some of the greater aspects of the old
Right.
style.
But it's nice that you haven't lost places like, what, Oak Street, is it? You know, that little intersection, and
Yeah.
the houses that kind of go off of that. And my little corner has, you know, a few little historic, little capes, you know, 1700s. And there's different places in town, you know, North Street, et cetera, that they still hold that character.
Yeah.
So you can see what,
Yeah. But as we're doing the downtown district, that's where you're seeing a lot of those facial changes
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are being noticed.
yeah.
Right.
Like, stupid ones, Harry's Pizza, Goodness Store. You go pictures of the late 70s, early 80s, they're totally different looking buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with what's now the Hot Walk, totally different
Yeah.
face to it.
Right.
So
Right.
there's been a lot of those changes throughout town that as you're going through, you're not necessarily looking at them, they're not showing that old home as much as they were with the updated siding and that kind of stuff.
So in the late 80s, I volunteered to help with the first historic district in Upton. And it was going to be from Upton Center to, I believe, halfway point between Upton and West Upton. And it was before social media. And I got to tell you, so we did a lot of work, met with homeowners, property owners, and we got beat up bad. I mean, we got shot down.
Were you trying to go for a local historical district?
Bylaw?
Yes.
Yeah, we got shot
Yes.
down for our bylaw in.
Well, but it was all misinformation.
Right.
It was
that's the whole
complete
thing.
misinformation. People like, you know, vocally saying, they're not going to let me paint my house this
Yeah.
color, or adjust my, my outdoor
Awning.
awnings, and
Yeah.
et cetera. It was nothing to do with that.
Right.
Right.
We'll probably end
Right.
up having to do a lot of outreach to people.
Yeah,
like,
well,
by-
before we have to
So social
finalize
media is
that.
either our friend or not.
Doing the historical district, it's a designation as opposed to a bylaw,
Yeah.
so there
Yeah.
is no requirement.
No,
This is
you do whatever you want with your
a
house.
federal district. We didn't
Yeah.
explain that.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that just hear district and they automatically
Yeah.
think it
Right.
means there's a bylaw.
Maybe,
so, you
maybe
know.
that's what they've learned over the years of them of losing efforts, because there's a lot of work that goes into it just to have it, you know, gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, right.
I did a whole write-up on the thing that we can give to everybody so that they'll understand. Because that's, when we started this, I ended up using that for one of my library
Right.
things, because it is two very different things. But we did try to go for the local history district with the bylaw change, and it got
Understood.
shot down.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
the federal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming down.
All right. I'll wait to hear from y'all.
Yep, appreciate it.
Will it be 4 months from now?
No, hopefully not.
I know, right?
I guess it
Fairly
3
soon.
months or something, right? Yeah.
I
We'll
know.
try to have a speedy turnaround.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be that speedy.
that's why it's good to have email and all that stuff, not have to wait for our
We
next
have your
meeting.
email.
Speaking, have you heard from
Appreciate
Beth?
coming down.
All right.
No,
So we haven't gotten the resignation
no.
yet.
So if she went, say she went right to the town hall to do that? would
Wouldn't we still, you would have gotten noticed.
Is
You
it
would have
in
gotten
the mailbox,
notification.
though, or-
David, have you checked the mailbox recently?
Yes, and there was, the only thing we had was, what was it? Open Space Planning Committee, they wanted me to join the committee.
And you're like, I'm trying to get off of committees, never mind
Of
joining.
course, yes,
David can't sneak out the door
The
without
other thing I
anyone
was
seeing him.
wondering, do we know if
green, but I'm saying that's what, that's
Chris
the mail
got
we had.
these?
That in the town,
If who got these?
If
the
Chris
town
got them?
report.
Like,
Chris Furno?
yeah, did these, I know this one did, because Lisa sent it to us, but did these ones?
No, I didn't know
Signet ring?
there was the process.
We might want to make sure that
Oh, very nice.
I can leave a copy.
See, you have
What do
good
I-
taste.
I don't even know what I have to do.
I don't know either. I just noticed when I was looking that this one was received and these ones
Yeah, because that
weren't.
was the only one, that was Scott's, right?
Yeah, that went
was the
through.
only one that came through official channels.
Yeah, we might just want to make sure.
Are these in sequence in terms of, is
Yep.
Christine Greenborough?
Al Greeno is next.
Yep.
Yeah.
Marino?
I was thinking people would be outside, but I guess we should probably
Well-
leave them in, right? That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
he
So
was here
knows.
early. He wasn't supposed to start till 5:30.
Right. So
So
it's not
it's-
quite
it's-
5:30, right? And Christina's
Yeah.
expecting us to be talking to him, so.
Yeah,
Right.
it is,
Oh, I thought
it is 5:29 at
Want
the
to
moment.
go see if there's anyone in
Yeah.
the hallway? And if
Yeah,
there
see if
is, I'll
there's
just tell
anyone
them
in the
to-
hallway. And if not, we can do what we
can-
need to do for our meeting
Yeah,
and
we can
then
try and get a,
jump on it. What was I going to say? I know, more questions for the, I was reading
I have-
your questions. I was
Again,
shutting off of
this
you.
is always a formatting issue with me. I've been going through the list that you gave me. I change the details on the properties. I save it to my desktop. I go to my desktop. I can't find it.
Oh, I bet with saving, you know what happens to me, David? We have similar computers. It's in the cloud versus on, like a local
so
thing.
David, if you want, just write it down on, if you want to just write it,
Yeah.
That's what I started doing, just literally, because I would,
I will go ahead. Come on, I'm the formatting queen. We know this. I can take, no, it's true. Come on.
what I mostly was taking out was no, I hate the idea of no style. No style.
Oh, right.
Well, no
But
style.
that's what the MHC
I know,
has it
I realize
listed
that.
as.
I realize that. So I take out no style. I said, and unfortunately, and I think I wrote you an email on this, not all, but a lot of the properties that were built, let's say 1890 to 1915, the vinyl and aluminum ferry came through town.
Yeah.
And kind of just glommed onto those
Can we
places.
also talk how all that aluminum ferry
yeah,
had to be
no.
that god-awful green and
Yeah.
yellow?
So now they're basically blocks with a gable roof. And the windows, there's almost no detail left. So I go like, kind of could be Italianate, but there's no Italianate there. Kind of, it's going to be Victorian vernacular.
Yeah.
It's going to be late 19th century, because there's, Queen Anne, kind of, sort of. But there were a lot of them were, and I looked at the photos and go like, there's nothing there. It's interesting. There's a property I pass every day on Boston Road in Sutton. Just before you get, what's the fudge place up on the right off of,
Oh, in Sutton?
in Sutton?
Yeah.
Before you get to Sutton Center,
I know where you mean.
there's a major intersection. Not
Where Tony's
single
Pizza
family.
is in,
Past Tony's Pizza, you're climbing the hill, you come up to an intersection, and there's a road that goes down to the golf course, and there's a road that goes right, I don't know if it's Fairbanks, that goes over to the fudge place. Just before that, in the woods, there's a really nice 1789 cape with a lot of nice outbuildings. And you can see it now in the woods. Nothing in the macros file in it.
Wow.
Couldn't find anything on it. And I've looked around I've looked at other sites that I've got some really good resources to find history. Nothing on it. They've owned it since 1993, so they've been in 31 years. But it's interesting because that there's
10 years.
nothing in Macris.
10 years.
Wow.
And I've tried other addresses off similar streets,
Yeah.
and the property's out there. And it's a really nice, well-preserved cape with a barn, outbuildings. It's kind of a ochre, orange color.
yeah,
It's really, and I'm going, that's really nice, but it's private.
yeah.
Unless you know it's there, you wouldn't see it, because it's got pines all along the street. But I was amazed that there was no Macris file on it.
Yeah, that is weird. Unless it's a weird address situation,
Yeah.
right? So it's in
No one out
Sutton
there.
or Douglas?
Wow.
That's that part.
Oh, there was no one out there, no.
Can you, I share the agenda with you?
Yeah, of course, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so we'll just go on to
Sure.
the next,
Yep.
the next part, right? So, yeah.
Did we, real quick, did we officially approve the meeting minutes?
Yes. Oh, I think so.
I don't think
we
just
did.
said they
Oh, we
looked
said we
good,
saw
but then
them.
I don't think
Okay.
We voted,
saw them?
so.
Move to approve meeting minutes?
So
Aye.
moved.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
What was the date for those meeting minutes?
December 28th.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just looking at them like, I know we all looked at them, but I
we
don't know that
we all
we,
looked at them, yeah.
I don't know that we
know.
approved.
We're not the most official group. What can I say?
It's a day, it's a day.
It's the end of the day, too.
So Dawn and I are working on the Form B, the B
Yes.
forms.
So we're gonna have them done by Valentine's Day. We need to
It's
talk.
hard to say.
So. I have a very exciting Valentine's Day. I'm going to oncologist, and then I'm gonna go to eat at the at the cafeteria there and work on my forms.
That's rough. So we know where David is with the Form A. He's updating it, and he'll get it to me whenever.
Yep, probably the next week. So.
Yeah, like I said, I have no problem
Fine.
filling them in. I know you and Google are not friends.
No. Next.
So, can I just interrupt one thing in the middle of that? So, David, what are you thinking, like, time frame to tell people? Like, we've got one slot essentially now, if we can get Betsy. Like May?
Say
Like,
May 1st,
Yeah.
say May 1st.
okay.
Do we want, like, you've asked Betsy, right? You've asked her, and she's just not getting back to you?
Right.
I guess the question is, like, what are our steps if that's the case? And
I
we're
think
not
we had to
getting
do that one other time, so I think we can come to
Okay.
that in a minute.
anything? Okay.
Hello, you must be
Hello.
Christy.
I am indeed.
Hi, we're all out of order in times today, Christy, but if we want to do your part now, that's perfectly fine.
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm Dawn Fontaine, I'm the secretary, who I was the one who put the Facebook post up.
Okay.
I'm Becky.
You don't have a last name.
No, Becky LaValle.
I'm David Metz, I'm the chairman. I'm going to be retiring from the
Okay.
commission, which is one of the reasons we're going through this process. I've been on it 30 years.
Okay.
It's hard to believe. And,
I'm Sarah Guyman. I think this is my second term, so, but, yeah. Thanks for coming.
So, yeah,
Guys.
we're a little more loosey, like I was saying, felt really funny sitting in the selectman's chair, which of course everyone's been to a selectman's meeting, right? Or at least seen them online, and I'm like, I've never been in this chair, because we're like meeting at each other's houses, at the library, and like, just as needed, so. And Sarah's also recording us now, she has that job too. Go ahead.
Okay, give you an overview of the Historic Commission. We're not the Historic Society. We actually are involved with preservation efforts within the town. We did the old town historic district about 15, 20 years ago. Now we're in the process of trying to finish up the downtown East Douglas Historic District,
Okay.
which is included right here. A lot of properties, what, 290 something?
Yeah, and it
Wow.
could be bigger.
Properties. Yeah.
Yeah, we went from 415 to 250, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's complicated. There's a lot of properties. We're also involved with, besides housing properties as well, monuments,
Okay.
cemeteries. There are certain parts of town, like the caves, whenever that are known in the town.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
may also need preservation work or
Okay.
something we can put in place. We've occasionally had properties that were abandoned or derelict to the point where the town contacts us and says, is this salvageable? If not, we're going to tear it down, but they always contact us and give us
Okay.
the option to say, is it possible to preserve it? Most of the time, I think we've only lost 2 or 3 properties in the past 30 or so years in Douglas. Douglas is remarkably stable in terms of housing consistency. We haven't built much new stuff in the downtown district. We haven't lost much in the downtown district. There's been some cosmetic changes, but outside of that, the properties have stayed pretty consistent. We lose 1 or 2 every few years, that's about it. Also, if there are alterations, there was a fire on a building up on Depot Street, a large French Second Empire property. When the plans for that property are in place, they contact the Historic Commission, said, do you approve of the changes that have been made? If not, make recommendations. We've usually approved those because they're in keeping with the property.
Yeah.
It's mostly the facade, the fronts of the buildings, and what the streetscape that we want to maintain in the town. We just had a property But you mentioned the new real estate.
Where the real estate office is now
Right in the
across
corner,
from the
Yes,
library.
yep.
Whatever.
When that moved from being the liquor store to them, they contacted us looking for old pictures and information about how it was
We
originally.
forwarded those. We had those.
Yeah.
And sent them to us, and they did a very good job.
It looks,
putting-
yeah, it does look.
Putting that in place, They actually made it closer to what it originally looked like 150 years ago, and more recently.
Yeah.
That's the bulk of what we're currently
Yeah,
involved
and
with.
just kind of like logistically, like as I mentioned in the Facebook post, we don't have a regular time that we meet. We all happen to have flexible schedules, so we usually meet at an odd time, like earlier in the evening or 9 o'clock in the
We're
morning.
really good at 9 o'clock in the morning meeting.
Or something like that. And then, but we will, communicate in between, and this historic district
Yeah,
has
we email all
been
each other. Thank you.
a little bit of that's been the thing that's been using most of our time, and so when we first started, another former member got together the forms. She took some photos, I added the maps, David added some of the narrative. So we all kind of try to help with the skills that we have, and no one is, a formal historical expert. We just all care about the preservation of the town. Becky's really good at, she's the archivist for the library, so she does maybe have more skills.
Okay.
But, just, I don't know, keeping everything organized and communicating, in a timely manner and that kind of thing. And I'm the secretary, so I tend to keep things, let the town know when we're having the meeting and all that kind of stuff and check everyone's schedules. So, so mostly we want hands to help with, keeping the historic district, filling out these forms and getting everything, all the i's dotted and the t's crossed for the Massachusetts Historical Commission. So the process for that is they have something called a B form, which is a building, and then an A form, which is an area. We have to do a little bit of both for this. Get some photos of it. We'll probably have to go around and take some photos. No one's a professional photographer, but, just to have the
Even
time
some,
to go and do that.
Some drone shots.
Yeah, we have a drone shot that's been donated, so that was a really nice one to have. And so it's just, offering your time to do that sort of a thing. And, sometimes we'll even just have a informal meeting where we're taking on some of those projects. Becky and I, for example, we have some of those B forms that we're cleaning up, so we just split them up alphabetically, and we'll each do a dozen or so. And then once that's done, then we can maybe open up to other things too. So there's, unlike some of the other commissions where someone's like, oh, I can't build my house until you approve the sewer or something, we don't have
Yeah.
anything like that. So there's no one that usually comes to our meetings once in a great while. But sometimes we'll get communicate by email where someone's, the example David gave on the street where they needed to tear something down, they'll ask if it's okay. We'll give our opinion. I can't think of any case where we've held anybody up from
Right.
tearing
Yeah.
anything down, because some things, we can only do so much. So, if there's, I don't know, would love to hear from you, if there's other, why you wanted to become involved, or if there's any, project you're I would love to see that happen. One thing that I was saying with, so this downtown historic district we're working on, not a lot of people know that there's a center district that was done too by the gazebo. That's,
Okay.
and that's a federal, these are both, there's a local, and am I saying it right, national or federal?
It's the local historical district and then the National Historic Register.
Yeah.
A local district requires bylaws that people have to abide by, where the National Historic Register is just a designation.
Okay.
So we are going for the National Register designation, because it doesn't mean, there's a lot of miscommunication what someone thinks that is. So it's basically just, there's a whole big book of the state of Massachusetts. Massachusetts has more National Register districts than anybody than any state. So,
We're old.
it's a cool place to live. And there's people at the MHC to help us, but eventually we'll have to hire a consultant too, because we're all just volunteers.
And you worked at New York State Park, Mills Mansion?
No.
Yeah, no, this is Christie.
Next one,
not Christine.
next one.
We're out of order,
Oh,
David.
we're taking, yes.
Yes, no, I don't have any experience on a board like this, but I saw the opportunity and I've lived here my whole life.
I was going to say 27 years.
Yeah, so we moved here when I was in third grade, and so I've just, I've watched the town change a little bit, but I just love, I love when people post old pictures of like the horse
Yeah,
and carriage
Sarah does that a lot.
going down the street, and so, it's just, I thought that was a really cool opportunity for me to like
Good.
kind of come in and help and be a part of the town more.
Yeah.
Now that my
Yeah.
kids are older and I have some more free time.
That does make an impact.
It makes a huge
Becky has the
difference.
young ones.
Which is one of the reasons we have a lot of 9 o'clock meetings.
Rightfully so.
This is Chrissy Turgeon.
Yes.
Okay.
That's me.
David got get her a badge.
Your type and writing is so tight and
I
concise. It's very
know.
beautiful.
Thank you. It's a mixture of both my mom and my dad's handwriting,
That's funny.
so somehow.
You'll never be a pharmacist.
Lovely.
No.
Yes, that's very good.
But you live in town 26 years.
Yeah, yep. So,
Besides the old pictures, do you have any other areas of interest?
So it's oddly enough, so I walk, because I live on C Street, so I was walking my dogs, and I remember going to the old school behind the post office, for instance, like that building.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, like, is that ever going to be torn down? Is it restored? They had boarded it up recently and like spray painted things, and I said, no.
yeah, I know,
There's a
right?
book out there already. I mean, there should be a book out there. There's been so much effort to try to preserve that building and
Yeah.
do something with it for the town, but they haven't.
Yeah.
I know, I would love to see like a community center, or you know what I
I
mean?
know. I know
And
this.
it's filled with back guano and lead paint. You'd have to, I mean, we're talking millions of dollars to keep
Yeah.
that property properly.
We're talking about the grammar school, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fantastic building. You're right.
And there's still some beautiful old ceilings and walls
Yeah,
in
the
there.
details inside are
It
fantastic.
was a recent, they did a walkthrough of like a lot of the historic buildings for
Yeah.
building
With
and
the-
facilities.
In the past month.
So they actually have the video of that where they did a walkthrough of
Oh, wow.
the
yeah.
school
It was-
and the old fire station and the VFW hall.
Oh, my
And then
goodness.
I think one other place, so.
The random small building in the valley between
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
the top of GBI and the ice cream lady, that valley.
So that's one time that, or one of the few times, I should say, that we did interact with another group, because we're usually onto ourselves, but the building facility, BFCC, I always forget what the extra C is.
Building Facilities Construction Commission.
Thank
so,
you.
Yeah.
So
we go.
they invited us to do that walkthrough. We actually had done a walkthrough, I think, Sarah, you weren't maybe here yet.
Yeah, I
But-
just go on that. first one, though.
2018, 2019, I think we
Yeah,
did it.
So we move at historical.
I wish I could have gone on the most recent one, and I was hoping to, but
We all were
unfortunately, I
working,
fell
yeah.
ill right before the walk was taking
So-
place, so I didn't end up going. But
So the old grammar schools during the 90s was used as a haunted house. in
I know, and I've gone to that.
Oh,
Yes.
I used to scream in that once upon a time. And then the fire station took it as a training. They used it for training
Oh, okay.
purposes. Old building, no real good lighting. They set up that. So it has had uses,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, more recently, it has definitely gone down. The same thing is happening with the center school, which is at the other end of
Right.
town. They've been stripped of all their copper, all of their wiring.
There's no plumbing.
Somebody went in and raided them completely on all that kind of stuff.
It's awful.
Once again, you're dealing with an older building. That one, I want to say, is 1930s?
Yeah, like,
Off of,
yeah, late 29, 30. Yeah,
off of the top of my head.
Yep, that sounds right.
So it doesn't have quite all the bad stuff that's in the grammar school, but it's still not, not the healthiest of buildings. And that one also is in a very awkward location to try and do anything community center, that type of stuff, because it's at the other end of town, where the grammar school is in the center of town.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, there's so much. There's so many. I know, like, my mom lives on at 2 C Street, and she's got the picture of the map from like when that was the only house on the street. and
Yeah.
It's just a
It's so
fascinating
cool.
history in this
I
town.
know, it is, and I'm learning more, like, so this district is like kind of bringing 2 mill periods together, and if, you can't really get in the North Street condos, but I've had to go in for a couple different times at different places, and they've got so much information in there about what that building was, and like stuff about the town.
So it was originally it was a Hayward wool mill.
Yeah, Stanley Woolen Mill, is that what it's called?
No,
Or
That's Uxbridge.
That's Uxbridge? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was the Hayward one, and when they did Hayward Landing in the early 90s, the lobby, they did a full display of everything that was the old mill, and they did a full history.
Has that taken, I lived there, so I lived
Oh, you
there.
did?
Yeah, and so they took that out now?
I don't know if they
Oh.
have, but like Dawn said, it's not a building you can easily
No, you can't get
gain access to.
Which is good for people that live there.
Yes.
But when we're trying to
sure.
get information, it makes it a little more difficult.
Right, right.
But yeah, they had the whole history there. And then I know the Historical Society has the Schuster Mill. They've got some of the old pictures and drawings from the.
Yeah, and even just, literally, maybe just even this morning, We Are Dynamic Douglas Facebook page. They had photos of the area right downtown across from the new real estate office, showing that block near the library with vintage photos kind of segued with contemporary photos.
Yeah.
Right, side by side. And was it Chris Below? Whatever.
Chris
Bill
Billadu.
Billadu.
He does a lot of that
Yeah.
imaging stuff, and it's great, because he has good access to.
And he's got a good eye.
Yeah,
He's able
good eye for
to.
that.
Right, right.
there as well.
So it would be kind of, I'm just spitballing here, but it would be interesting as we get through this big project in the next several months, maybe a year, like to do some other things. This, a tiny little budget, but
Highlighting those districts and the
highlighting
different.
that kind of information, and like maybe there's a Facebook page that gets shared with,
Yes.
people love the photos,
Yeah,
like you said. and
exactly.
That kind of information gets shared, or maybe there's, town hall, there's something that's there that says something, so. Just, I don't know, just, keeping it going, like having the best of intentions, and, as David always points out, this downtown district really hasn't changed a lot in the years that we've been here. Some for the better, a few for the better, a few things knocked down, but not too many.
We have,
so-
we have several rail beds that ran through town.
One up on D.
The Hartford, which was J.P. Morgan's, one which ran from Boston down to Hartford into New York, and that runs right through town. It's a rail trail. The unfinished Grand Trunk, which was started in 1910, stopped in like 1916 because of World War I.
I thought he died on the Titanic.
Yes, but the building on that did not start until literally a month after he died on the Titanic.
Okay.
The funding was coming from London, and
He didn't make it to London. It's terrible.
Will Fitzhugh was his sidekick. He's the one that actually started the building on it, and
David.
it runs right through Southbridge. And if you're walking down the old rail trail of the Hartford, and they did this years ago, and I remember kept coming upon this 25-foot tall concrete obelisk right along the side of the rail bank. I'm like, what the hell is this thing doing here? There's nothing near it. It was one of the would be one of the berms for the rail that was going to go over the Hartford Railroad, and it runs all through Douglas. If you're going down Southwest Main Street towards Thompson, you
Yeah.
go over a little gorge. That's a Grand Trunk cut. If you walk out on the right side, there's an 80-foot tall berm, all made of stone and whatever, that runs all the way into Webster,
Yeah.
which was a giant thing that was built for the Grand Trunk. And then there's a route that went off of the Hartford, right when you cross Southwest Main Street, where the road goes underneath the railroad, and that one went up to Webster, and all along the rail bed into Douglas State Forest. So there was 3 or 4 different rail beds. I'm a railroad buff.
Hey,
We all have our thing.
Yeah, there's always something to learn, right?
But people don't know this stuff, you know, like, I remember walking along this, why is this road out here in the middle of the woods? I didn't know it was a railroad bed. I thought
Yeah.
It was just a road. Thought it was just.
Those are pretty handy
something
for
made
dog
for
Yeah.
walking, convenient walking in the woods. No, it's a railroad bed.
There's definitely a lot of the history that's starting to get lost.
Yeah.
Especially as there are members of town that are aging out. And we're getting to the point where we need to really start doing some kind of recording of the history.
Yeah.
Right, that someone can
That's probably
access
the
to.
next thing. You're right.
Yeah.
Saying,
Yeah,
maybe a new book, possibly a new book.
right. So Christy, do you have questions for us?
No,
Yes.
have you guys like considered doing your own Facebook, like creating a Facebook or social media
We were
and,
talking about it just recently.
yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it in depth, you know, but
Almost just like getting the new generation where,
I know.
involved and wanting to, excited or just like wanting to be involved.
right, because
Or-
even I've been with the society at different times too, and it just like getting people into the building is so hard, but someone might look at it online, right? Like,
Right. Yes.
Honestly, I unfortunately, our life has been consumed by this district.
Yeah.
And it's that wall we've got to get over before we can really
Yeah.
start diving into
We can
other
make a
things.
page, but we can't really populate it.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the goal.
Yeah.
But the thing is, once this district is done, that gives us a jumping point where we can be like, look, we've completed this. It is
Yeah.
this district. Here's
You
the
know.
history of it.
Yeah.
House of the week. This was so-and-so, this was so-and-so's house. and
Yeah.
This is what they did. Here's what it looked like back in 1885. Here's what it looks like now. Here's some of its history. And so maybe not every week, but
Yeah.
House of the month,
Yeah.
whatever, and do something like that.
Or FYI, here's what a local historic district is, and here's what a national historic district
I know, so that we don't have that whole oh
Right,
my God, I don't know whatever thing that made people think that you can't paint your house from the historic district has made us all
This isn't Concord or Lexington.
Yep.
Good, well, thank you.
God.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for taking the time
Thanks.
and,
We won't wait forever, sorry.
We will-
that kept getting pushed back. That kind of shows you
that's
like
fine.
we're not meeting all the time, but we are working, we are emailing and stuff.
no, that's perfectly fine. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I look forward to hearing back from you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
Christie.
rest of your night.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Now it's dark, right? It was light a minute ago.
At least it's getting darker later, though.
Yeah. I just thought of an idea of how we can vote, and it's going to sound really complicated, but has anyone ever seen that video of the ranked voting? All right, so
So
like
who
what
we
Maine
think should
has-
be one, who we should be
Yeah, so
two.
if we had colored
Oh,
stickies,
okay.
I wish I'd thought of it, I would have brought them. So we all say, I would pick this order, and then we all put our stickies up, and then we, like if
Our
we've got
stickies,
Post-it notes.
okay.
And then we don't talk, we just put our stickies up, our papers, and then we say, oh, 3 people wanted this person for number 1, then we'll pick him or her, and but then we can talk
sense.
after.
Fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
How about, we can do an arm wrestle,
Or that.
which I'll win.
Right?
I wonder if there's anybody in the
Unfair
offices that
advantage.
would have Post-it notes.
But I'm so eager for it right, like now?
Well, I want to vote tonight.
Oh.
That's what I was
We
thinking.
could
Do you have
just
to
write
sleep
it on
on
like a
it?
piece of paper, like.
Yeah, we could.
Each have like a
Well,
little
look
scrap of
at
paper.
this purple
like,
paper.
You know?
I just wanted, yeah, I guess we could. We could just write it.
Be down to 3 people, because Christine,
It's almost 6 o'clock right now.
Is, yeah.
is not, and she was supposed to be the
We s-
5:45.
Right, let me see if I have any emails or anything.
I want to go visit the bedroom.
I mean, I've got the historical commission supposed to pop up on this one, and
Oh, good, I don't have that one. Okay.
I haven't gotten anything
For
popping
the
up.
town email? The official email?
The Gmail
Oh,
account,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so this is
I
like
don't have
my
it.
personal tablet, and then I had an old one that literally, I'm lucky if I get 5 hours out
Oh,
of it. Like, you know,
really?
one of,
Oh, no.
like,
Oh, the
and then-
battery, yeah.
I mean, like, not even plugged, not even like using. I'm lucky if I get 5, like, if I don't keep
Right.
it plugged in on the regular,
Oh, no.
it's dying. But I'm like, but you know what? I can throw everything on there and I'll at least
Yeah.
have it.
Oh, that's
But
good.
I'm becoming, I've also got my work email on here, so it's
So
not on
this
my
is work and
personal.
this is personal?
Yeah.
I love that thing. Every time I see it, I'm like,
Which one? This one?
Well, both. I mean, I guess I'm a Mac, this is a Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my
Or
mini.
Mac formula.
The mini iPad. So I fought getting the pencil, and the minute I got the pencil,
Oh, yeah.
I'm in.
You
I-
like the pencil?
I use it so much.
Yep,
It
I've
took,
got my little, I've
Mini?
got a.
I have everything
I've
but
got a
that.
note, whatever number this is, Note 10, I think, or something, but it's got a little stylus.
And,
It
like,
does come in handy.
I'm like, I'm never gonna need this, and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do it because I think there was a deal where like you got it because if you did like the package.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm like, I'm never going without the pencil. Like,
Right.
It's a funky little pencil, isn't it? It looks like chalk.
so.
This is going to be an interesting meeting.
Right.
To watch.
Well, we're just an interesting group
Oh,
to
you
be.
can write like that on it?
Hold
That's
on.
so cool. I have a few iPads, but I honestly never, I will take it traveling once in a while, but it doesn't have everything. I'm so email oriented.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. Do I have to hit something first?
Nope. You know what it is?
It doesn't like me.
No, it's. Do you see what I did to my screen?
The breaking of the glass.
Yep. Okay, that's good. It had just happened yesterday. Oh no, this is a screen protector. I've just got to get the new one at home.
Oh. Okay.
Oh yeah. I am
was
that
worried
person
about
that I wear. I have every single one of these has screen protector casing because I am not crazy. I am
Obsessed.
organized and
I love what you're doing. It's
So-
fantastic.
Do you use any kind of task management like Asana or?
I just use Google.
You probably don't need it because you're not because you guys are in person at the library. and-
Yeah, we don't use any of that really.
Yeah.
And we've
Because I'm of mixed feelings about them, but
so
it's interesting.
this is Justin and I have kind of started pushing like using the Google as a more like let's use it
I
more.
asked, did he tell, I'm sure he told you, but I don't know if it's doable for the library trustees. I was like, I'd like a place where documents can live for us. And then I think Justin ended up having to upload it, like the 8 or so trustees could get in there.
So what I can do is I can use the main Douglas. Would it be stuff you want Justin also having access to?
Yeah, because it would be something like plans for the renovation.
I'll talk to him tomorrow and see if he
I
needs
don't
an.
know if anybody else will do it but me and Kate.
Well, that's the thing is that you've got me and Justin, but Gail and Deb are hesitant
Yeah.
to like, and it's like, but this is going to make our lives so much easier
Yeah.
if you'll just listen to me.
Right.
Like we've got the calendar on the wall, and I'm like, guys, can we have a Google calendar so like when I'm at home and I need to know
Oh, yeah.
what the schedule is, I can just like look at it.
Yeah.
So I finally got everybody to agree to a Google Calendar. I think I'm the only person that updates it. Like,
That happened with my mother-in-law too, that we needed one for Ma's appointments, and then I was the only one who was willing out of the 10 or so of us.
I live in my Google Calendar.
Oh, my-
Like, if it's not in my Google Calendar. it
Okay,
doesn't-
now I have a question though, because I love that Google Calendar. It works better than the Mac, so I went to it, but now I have this other job, and they use all Microsoft stuff. So then I have Outlook meetings, and I try, sometimes I'll add them, sometimes I'll add to my own, I'll invite myself in my Mac email.
Right.
Notice I didn't have my
Otherwise-
phone in here.
Right.
My phone's at home.
I feel like Microsoft needs to just gracefully bow out and admit that it's losing to everybody else because Outlook is the worst.
Yeah. I don't use it for emails, but I have, I'm on Teams all day now, which I kind of like.
Oh, Jed's on Teams. He deals with Teams. He doesn't mind
He
Teams.
probably has a similar workplace like me.
And he
think I
works.
told
And he works from home too, so.
Yeah.
So what time was the last
I
appointment?
think, so it was, they were all kind of like 15 minutes, so it was like 5:30.
Wait, hold on one sec. I've got the emails.
5:45.
I've got the
Oh, you
emails
do?
right here.
6.
David, be quiet. Okay.
Did I tell anybody the wrong day or anything? I'm afraid that
Oh,
I
I'm
did
sure
a
not.
typo.
I'm sure you were fine.
There we go. So,
Everyone confirmed.
yeah.
Want me to check the hallway again?
I was just out there.
Or the other, it wouldn't be the other room, right?
Thanks.
Wednesday the
Christine,
7th, right?
5:30, so
Something wrong.
Go to bed.
she wasn't even here at 5.
Right.
Okay, so you must.
I'm here all night either way, but.
At the time of the meeting started, and then Dave's last.
Yeah, what time did we have Dave for?
Oh, you wrote these down.
Well, that's what I thought it
Oh.
was, but am I? Scott, Dawn, Christy, David.
I think 6:15.
Yeah, you know what? I know an easier way to do this. I'm
We
doing,
have
sorry, I'm doing it
Two
the,
seats open, or we have 3?
We have 2.
Two.
well, we've got 1.5.
Because Dave, like, we'll count David as being, one seat is his and one seat is
Right.
Betsy's.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah, I guess we only have 5. I was just lamenting that to Justin, because I was like, God, the library trustees is big, you know, like
Right,
compared to
yeah.
this.
But I mean, to have to jump through all those hoops. I wish we could,
Right.
I wish we could easily have alternates assigned. I also,
They could also come to meetings without being, Sue Perkins did that for a long time.
I also want to know, like, we've got, like, I know there are committee bylaw meetings, but does the historical commission have anything that says how we're supposed to run? Or are we supposed to,
That's a good question.
are we supposed to
Yeah.
be following that? Because I feel like there's.
Task our first new member on that. We'll have to-
Yeah, right. We'll have to do some research.
Dave was
because
around
I'm sure
6.
when they voted on it, that
So
town
you
meeting.
must
they
have done
have-
5:15.
What did I tell them, 6?
Yeah, so you must have done 5:15,
I told them all 5:30, but then I estimated, I told them
think
they
I
were
heard a
3rd or
door.
whatever.
5:30. Well, you said to Dave, Wednesday, February 7th, around 6.
Okay, so, it's pretty
5:30.
good.
No one?
Nobody else?
Okay. Well,
Well, that'll make it easy.
I guess we give a few more minutes
well,
and,
like, did we already go over everything that's under the last section
No,
here?
we can just keep going on that.
Okay.
Because I was thinking we'd have a half an hour at first.
Right,
to
Yeah.
right.
Figure things out. Okay, so we did that.
Yep.
Forms, David's got the A form.
Yep.
Okay, images. Now, this is my thought. I don't know if
We-
my husband's watching, but I'm thinking that he or someone like him who likes to take photos should just go around town and it's all in a row. Maybe I have to wait a little bit till the weather's a little nicer.
I was going to say, let's wait till it's green, because we don't have a need for,
I shot a lot of stuff.
we don't have a need for it right now.
Right.
I did a lot of shots of that immediate downtown area, pretty much from the library west up
Yeah.
to Franklin Street. So a lot of those properties were in spring several years ago.
Yeah.
They were green and pretty and was nice sunlight.
Yeah, so spring photos.
Honestly, I cannot handle winter photos right now. It will just depress me.
Yeah. And
Because once they're taken, they've got to come to me to get sized right,
okay.
to fit into that. And then we need to take the original images and have 4x6s printed off of them. So we need to
We
have.
do need to have them printed.
I believe we need to fit one into the sheet, and then we have to include a 4x6.
Okay.
So I need.
That's right. I think I remember that because we were
I-
like, so weird that. it's not
I need
digital.
all the raw data, all the raw images, so I can do the sizing to make them fit where we need them to fit appropriately. And then, once we have that, then we can just do, like I said, Walmart or CVS, or Amazon does a really good job printing off photos.
Really?
We, for Christmas, we did our cards through Amazon, and we did photo books through Amazon, and they came out beautiful.
Yeah. Huh.
So Amazon actually does a pretty good job.
And I've done CVS and Staples, and those were all like really easy to use and, cost effective.
Yeah, so
But so, because I was thinking, like, David has taken some, there's some various ones online, there's ones that Sue took a million years ago, but then
10 years ago,
things get,
not a million.
10 years ago was the 1990s in my brain, so what's that tell you?
2010.
So you're,
2012.
what, Colin was born in
They haven't.
2021.
changed.
2021,
Yeah.
so it's still the 20s, right? It wasn't the 19s.
You're going to read the
'Cause I'm-
photo
I
of
just
my
feel
house,
like
just let me know and I'll
I
take the
lose
kids
a
out of
decade,
the
and
front
especially
yard.
when I was little, like I lost from 2002 to 2012.
Yeah, no, the 90s have always been 10 years ago for me. Like, it's just,
Huh?
for some reason, the way my brain works is the 90s were only 10 years ago. Just like I'm sure for my,
What about
Archivist?
those of us
This
who
is
were
an archive?
around in the 70s?
well, I was going to say for my parents, 10 years ago was always the 70s. It's how you're like, where your brain puts like certain things.
Yeah, your favorite thing.
Also,
So,
something else we might want to consider, a holiday or something, when Main Street does not have the cars on it, kind of going to Main Street and getting pictures looking down and up both ways. I'm trying to think, I want to say the last holiday was Martin Luther King. We had swim. Colin and I went to swim at 10:30. Main Street was empty.
Yes, yeah. It's rare,
Just
but
those
again,
Monday
occasionally,
holidays.
Sunday mornings,
what's today?
it's often empty because all those businesses are closed.
Do not go anywhere near it on a Sunday morning because a Saturday
Well, what
morning.
about Easter?
Saturday's
What about
crazy,
Easter?
yeah.
Oh my God, Saturday.
Sunday morning, quiet.
But like I said, if you kind of base it around like holidays, you can
Yeah.
sometimes get where there's very few cars on Main Street and you get a beautiful view of the area without things. One of the nice things about cars is it does give you it helps you date.
Right.
Like I said, so we had a donation to the library with some slides. And it was, I found out that it was 1993, but using the cars and everything, trying to figure out when the
yeah.
pictures were taken.
Yeah.
So, I mean, cars are good in some respects because it gives you
Yeah.
a version of dating.
Right.
But also having that clean shot with not a lot going on is pretty too.
Yeah. Did anyone see, by the way, in Uxbridge, they were shooting a movie and they had all these old cars downtown?
Oh, really? Oh,
How do I not know any of this stuff?
No.
really
I can't remember if I saw a photo or if I was there. It must have been a photo because I can't see it in my head. But you know, just like all the storefronts are all after Koopmans. You know, if you're,
Yep.
you know, just after they are like that little stretch is pretty
Right.
preserved.
Well, I feel
you know?
like Whitensville, Church Street, they did a really good job of kind of keeping it old-timey.
Yeah. they
That
did too.
section of Uxbridge, they did a really good job of keeping it old-timey. I unfortunately feel like our Main Street, we went vinyl siding.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we went the,
It's such a mix because like everyone loves a real estate office. That if
Yeah.
everything like that great, like all the pizza places not so great. And the Goodness Store, I wish they'd update that sign. But I want it to be the
I love
Coca-Cola
the sign.
sign.
Yeah, right. I love the sign.
when Joyce and Joey are done, the Goodness Store is not going to be around anymore.
That would be very sad, though.
But-
They're the longest running business in town.
But I mean, Sunny used to have that store open at 4, 5 o'clock every morning. When
Oh,
Sunny
wow.
passed away, the hours kind of changed around. Now Joyce and Joey really just do Fridays.
Right.
I don't know if there's going to be anybody to take it over
Yeah.
when they
Well, we
decide to be
should, we
done.
should keep a close watch on it because we don't want that to go away, you know?
David, do you think we're going to, speaking of like the town asking us about old buildings, do you think we're going to hear about the one next to the cemetery anytime soon?
Well, they did talk about it at one of the last building and facilities, so.
Tear it down.
Yeah, they want to do
Well,
a tear
I
down,
thought-
but the thing is, it's got asbestos siding, so it's going to be like a costly operation to
right.
take
Well, I
down.
thought the reason why the town had bought it was so that they could continue it for the cemetery.
Right.
That was what I originally thought as well, so I think
But
that's
we
still
haven't
their
filled up the
plan.
area.
Right, but we still
My
have,
parents are in there,
there's a
so-
lot of plots left in Douglas Center, so it's not like it's a needed.
But at
Space
the
right
same
now.
time, it just keeps
Yeah.
deteriorating
I think
more
that they
and more.
picked it up because it was between two pieces of town property,
Right,
but
exactly.
I don't think there's any real rush on it, other than the fact that it's dilapidating. But the asbestos, I think, is what's
Keeping things.
keeping
from-
them from doing it, because it's going to cost a lot more to take
Right,
down,
you
because they have
does
to handle the hazmat.
Has to be hazmat, yeah.
Right,
Has to be
yep.
hazmat work.
So they did, at the last, I don't know if any of you got to watch the building and facilities meetings, but they did discuss.
Damn it, I missed it.
Meetings, you missed that one. But they did discuss at their meeting following the walkthrough, basically they were voting on what to do with some of the buildings
Right,
that we're
right.
also talking
That
about,
were-
like
Yeah.
the grammar school,
Right.
the VFW hall, and the old fire station. So they did vote to remove the tower from the old fire station.
I think you told me.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Or somebody told me that.
I think it was me.
I think you told me because Fred told you.
Right.
Right.
And I
And they
don't,
were talking about tearing down the rest of the building, and that had not been voted on yet, as far as I
but
recall.
the building itself, I mean, so the tower on the fire station went up in the 1940s as
Right.
a watchtower.
Yep.
So it was an add-on anyway.
It was an add-on anyway that went.
Although it does have historical significance.
Well, yeah.
because They had they were watching for planes like.
Yeah, I mean,
World War II.
but that's why it was added on.
Yeah.
But I believe.
It was getting a safety thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But I
That's what they
believe the
said, so-
bones of the fire station are still some.
Yes, the
Right.
bones are, the rest is
The
fine.
bones are
And I kind
solid.
of think from what I recall, the way that they left it was they were going to see if the fire or highway needed that storage
Storage
space.
space, right.
And that's kind of what they're
Drove it.
basing on.
Right.
Well, I feel
basing
like-
Whether they should, start to repair the building, or if.
I
they're
feel like a
gonna-
lot of the buildings, like the VFW right now, is just storage. I feel like a lot of
Right.
those old buildings are just becoming overflow storage.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I mean, at that point, I'd rather see the building come down rather than continue to be overflow storage and not being maintained. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're going to do something with it,
I think, maintaining them would be ideal, and I know, like, they were let go for a long time because the town didn't have money to put toward
Right.
this, that, and the other thing that needed repair. But if we're in any better of a position with the warehouses going in and with, hopefully things improving as far as tax dollars go, but
but the concern is, did they get let alone
go
for
too
too
far,
long?
right.
We're now trying to do anything with it is,
I mean, because I was hoping that they would not, tear down the fire station building, and I'm pretty sure they were talking about selling off the VFW Hall building. I'm pretty sure that was at least mentioned. I can't remember if they voted on that or not.
Yeah, probably the other ones aren't voted on yet,
And
but they
then
had some clear
the
idea.
grammar school, they talked about selling that one off as well.
It's like for a
But
dollar.
that's, yeah, right.
well,
Because it's
to,
like.
to
it's
take
kinda-
down the grammar school, the price tag, I believe, cost more than it would be to do
Right.
anything to fix the grammar school.
Right.
Wow.
Because
But
that was a
yeah.
location that
Look
was
at what they
looked
did
at.
at the Draper Mills in Hopedale. Took down this huge complex. It was like
Yeah. Is anything
300
in there now? I
400,000
haven't
square
seen
feet.
it. I haven't seen anything go in. I'm sure it
No,
is by.
it's a brownfield site, pretty much.
But, I mean, so that's the thing. I'm torn right now, and I know we only have, but I'm torn between, I love the old buildings, I'd love to see something done with them, but if we're at the point where we can't do anything, we're not going to get the money, we're not going to be able to sell it,
Right.
then we need to make the tough decision, because at this point, they're becoming an eyesore to the town.
Yeah.
Right, but with them gone, we never get them back. So that's the other part of
Yeah.
that, and it's like.
Right.
But the thing is, I
don't know.
remember being a kid and doing Girl Scouts in the center school.
Oh, yeah.
And I drive by it every day, so I've
Right.
watched the deterioration.
Right.
David's the same way.
Yeah,
Where it is
my
the
neighbor, yeah.
location for us,
Right.
we've just watched it, and it's just going to keep getting worse.
Right, so we're kind of at the breaking point where we either should think about putting something toward restoring them, selling them for $1 and having someone else restore them and get them back on the tax roll, or,
Right.
the worst option, the one that I wouldn't want, is to get rid of them altogether, but,
Right.
know,
But the grammar school was the thought anyway, I don't know how it's going to fully vote, but for the grammar school was to really like find a developer.
Right,
Where you can
yeah.
essentially give it to them.
and I
for-
know it even had its own committee for a while, and they got hung
Yeah.
up on the fact that, like, they mostly got I think they had only had one proposal, but it was like for housing, and they keep mentioning like 55-plus housing.
can't-
But
yeah.
it's the location next to the school that gets people hung up, and
Like I said,
and the
the-
traffic and
The school becomes,
Right. Mm-hmm.
becomes a factor. Whether or not it's rules or what,
Right.
the school is always going to become a factor where that building is
Right,
concerned.
because it's right there.
It's right there. Like I said, the library, that was one of their because when they were getting ready to do the grant with the library, we had to have alternate sites. That one was looked at, and it would cost more money to even make that an alternate site
Right.
than it would basically be to like go up 5 stories at the like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it was not feasible there.
Right, right.
Well, I haven't seen anybody.
Right?
Nope.
Nope. Well, at least we're having a good discussion.
That's right.
So,
All right, so let's just make sure we get all our other stuff. So the images, so in the spring, most likely the Fontaines will take some images.
and we'll,
I'll send you the ones I have.
and
I
what
don't, yeah.
And what we'll also do is, once we have everything together, we'll look to see if we need any other wide shots. And
Yeah,
if
I
we-
think we do, because sorry.
But wait until we've got everything together, and then if we need wide shots, we go to Chris Billino
Right.
and be like, are you available to do
Sure.
these for us? We need
Yep.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, oh, can you do this one for us? And 2 months later, oh, we need this.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and we,
Yeah.
let's wait till we know exactly.
And we have, usually with this, we have some time, because the way I understand drones anyway, like, you don't just like take it like a photo, like, he's got to get it up there and
Yeah.
fly it, whatever, so like, when he's already doing that. But I'm reading Ben Haley at the MHCs, this has been in my inbox forever. So we don't need photos of every resource, but we do need general context photos and photos of key/representative resources. So I think that's kind of what we're doing, those
Right.
forms anyway.
The B forms, and
Yeah.
you and I had kind of talked, when we were kind of going through the B forms, we want, as much as we'd like to just present the pretty houses, we need to present a good variety of
Yeah.
not just pretty houses. And it would also probably be important to do a few houses where there's been significant change, where you can see that this house has modernized as much as
Right.
it has. And, I mean, with having the Coppola collection at the library, we've got some pictures of the older houses, like of some of them when they were original or close to, that we could use for comparison to be like, this house is completely
Right.
changed and updated. Like I said, as much as we want to keep it to the historic, we've got to show.
Yeah, we got to show everything, right? Yep. That makes sense.
Okay. All right, and then other topics, I think the only other thing I was thinking was what we were just talking about with
Yeah.
those buildings, so, I don't know, there's a few.
I don't know if we should reach out to building and facilities and like maybe
We
with
maybe
a letter
go to
or
the-
something, just to touch base with them on it? Because I know they
that's a
did
good
want our
idea.
input, or
We should
Shirley
do
would
something.
come to talk to
Draft me
us.
something and send it to
Right.
me.
Okay, well, if you have any ideas on what you want me to include, let me know. But yeah, I mean,
But yeah, like I said,
know.
as much as I'd like to see something done with the buildings, I'm at the point where if we can't do anything, then we need to start talking about the hard choices
Right.
on them. Because one of the reasons the library passed, or the 2018 override passed, was because if the library closed,
it was going to be another empty building. Right.
well, it was because
Right.
it would have to revert back to the family because it was donated
Yeah.
with the explicit instructions that it only be used
Right.
as a library.
Right.
So where that helped the override is you now have an empty building in the center of town.
Yeah,
And, oh, by the way, we're closed. If we ever want to reopen, we have to become ADA compliant, which, by
Yeah.
the way, we're looking at a $4+ million price. for
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like I said, I don't want to see stuff that's bringing the town, the pretty of the town down.
right.
Well, I don't know. I don't want them to go away because like I said, you don't get them back. And like my hometown, I don't recognize it at all. There's not a thing there that was there before, except for maybe if you go to the center of Shrewsbury, but like where I was, there's nothing that's the same, and it's like,
And I guess I just look
you
at.
lose a
just-
lot, you know?
You do lose a lot, if I just look at sometimes, just because something's old doesn't mean it's in condition worth saving.
Right. Yeah, I guess that could be said too, but, I mean, I don't know. Particularly the old fire station
That one,
is
that
one
one
that I don't want to see it
I'm the same
go,
with you. That
know?
one, but that one, like I said, still has the bones.
Right.
Where the
Yeah.
grammar school and the center school may have the bones, but there's so many other things.
Right. And
that
I mean,
need to be taken
what
into
do you guys think
consideration.
of the idea of selling them off, you know, for a low amount and hoping that someone will come in and
That's
have a vision?
I think-
Have
yeah,
a vision
if
in
it's-
bottomless pockets.
Well, the problem is they could also come in and be like, I just want the land and demo them.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
That's true too.
Yeah, I think there'd have to be some kind of idea in mind, you know, that they
Right.
wouldn't just give it to them and then like see them, I don't know, build a giant
Yeah,
little
right,
factory there or
exactly. Like,
something, I don't know.
is there a way that we could protect them, but also,
Yeah, I think they
let them
still
go,
have to
you
like
know what I
have a
mean?
proposal of some kind, you know, like.
yeah.
But then it would also have to, kind of like the library, it would have to be written, like the library, the deed actually has all of that written in, like
Right.
what the building is, and
Yeah.
it would have to be something very similar done
Yeah.
on any deed work.
Do you know
we
that
would do
Uxbridge
moving
is,
forward.
they have the same deed, that they
Oh,
used to be a
really?
library forever.
Oh, no kidding.
And theirs is a lot bigger than ours.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, like I said, honestly, that's why the override passed, because the library, like, you could use there were very many, the library had a lot of good, you know, about this,
Like,
what about this, and what
yeah.
about this, and what about, like, they were able to do quite a bit on that one.
Yeah. So can we convene, or do we have to vote in part of the meeting?
Vote to end the meeting?
No vote on the members.
Vote on the members. Oh, should we do that? Do you want to do that tonight? Do you want to do it right now?
Well, let's-
Or-
Once we
Or
get-
when David comes back?
I
I mean, we can write down, like, it's hard because we only saw
Two of them.
two of the members, but we do only have 2 chairs open.
Yeah, so
I
that's-
kind of feel like if you showed up, that puts you ahead a little bit, at least in my book.
Yeah.
Because they came, and I don't know what happened to the other 2 people.
I
but,
can,
you
I know, I'm looking now at the messages to Dave, and I think, like, because we're not connected on Facebook, I think he might not be seeing them. But he did say that would work.
but we've also got, but you did also email.
I also emailed a couple times.
Yeah, and they all gosh.
Right, I think if everyone confirmed, like, I don't know, unless there's some reason that they,
Right,
know.
and I'm not, I'm
but
checking.
but we don't know.
my email.
Right, something we're not privy to at the moment, we don't know if they.
So yeah, both of these, you had sent something out, and I don't think they responded. Oh, no, I'm in the sent mail, sorry.
But I usually.
Have I mentioned that I'm an absolute mess today? Okay, so, yep, confirmed.
Well, she was here, but she.
Nope,
confirmed.
nope, that was the other one.
No, I mean the other, I'm reading ahead.
Yeah.
I got that one confirmed.
Oh.
And then
Hello,
she's,
we're still in Historic Commission right now, so we'll be out of your chairs in
Couple of minutes.
just a few short moments. Feel free to have a seat.
Talking about the,
you're here for the,
yeah.
I don't know, it's here at 7.
Zoning.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Sarah knows. her.
People usually
Yeah.
start pouring
So
in at, well, the early
Scott
people
said
come in at
yes.
6:30, but the
Wow.
general
I don't have
crowd
that
comes in at
concept.
7. I'm here all night
Christine
anyway, so
confirmed,
I'm
and we
I'm
never
already
saw
there.
her.
But how do you feel on voting, David, on the 2 open chairs? Would you want to
I'm all for 'em.
Would you want to do that tonight? Do you want
Sure.
to?
Works-
I
works
I
for
was
me.
thinking the people that showed up,
Yeah.
since they did show up,
And so
fine.
2 and 2, it makes
Yep,
it easy.
Yep.
I think that works well. I'll make a motion to, we're recommending to selectmen, right? Because they appoint officially.
Oh, shoot, I
think.
forgot about those
So-
extra steps.
Yeah,
That's
so I
just how
think,
I'll word it, I guess.
I think,
Okay.
and then I think what we need to do is we need to get this one sent to Lisa.
Okay,
we'll need to forward this one to Leeds.
Okay.
Because like I said, this one was received and approved. This
Yeah.
one I don't think got received and approved, so
No,
we
the
want.
other three did not.
So
They
it's,
just came in.
it's Christy Turgeon and Scott Dale Garland?
Scott.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to recommend those two for appointment to Historic Commission.
Seconded.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Discussion.
Do we want to make the appointment date be July 1st? The reason I'm saying July 1st is that is the next start of the fiscal year.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's fine.
that makes sense, sure.
That just gives, that's the
Yes.
appointment date, and if they want to
Okay.
come to meetings before then,
Yeah.
they're more than welcome.
I'll
Okay.
amend my motion to say July 1st, with the start date of July 1st.
Seconded,
All in favor?
aye.
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 Good.
July 1st start, so I need to email them through the Gmail and let them know.
Yep, and then we've got to get a hold of, Betsy.
Yeah.
I say if we don't get a resignation from Betsy within a month, we then move forward on.
We did this before, David, when someone was not participating, we kicked them out.
Yeah, I think there's a thing
Not
that
coming
if
to
you
meetings.
miss more than 3 meetings unexcused, they automatically count you as out.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that applies to us, but it seemed to apply to most of the boards.
Yeah.
But, well, I say if we don't get anywhere in the next month, the next time,
Yeah.
we go ahead and we
Right.
move forward with
Yeah.
going through with that.
And I'm planning on a May departure for myself.
Or June 30th.
We just won't plan a meeting between May and July 1st then.
I know.
We'll take a brief summer break.
Yeah. So on that note, we should pick another meeting, just so we're
Yeah.
not.
Okay, I can put it in my calendar.
Everyone's got their Google calendars up.
Yep.
Except for David.
Go to my
My
Google
phone is at home.
calendar.
I do not use my
What?
phone.
I have a pen
Okay.
if you want to borrow it. Write it in your book. So when's everyone available?
It depends on the day. Are we thinking like a month and a half?
I should be open, like I said, I'm retiring from my work end of this month. So I should be much more
Wow.
available,
Awesome.
When's the party?
depending on the Air Force flyover and the parade.
I'm thinking, okay, so
I would say like early April.
I was thinking the
Okay.
same thing, because I want to say March, you're going to get into the Easter holidays.
Right,
And
and I've
that
got
kind of
Massimo's
stuff.
home, and I've got a little trip, and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Not Patriots Day.
I think Fridays were the day that worked for everybody, is that right, in the
I
morning?
can, Fridays, I'm better in the afternoon.
Okay,
Thursdays, I'm good in the morning.
I try to keep Thursdays open on my schedule, so if you want to do a Thursday, I should be free on a Thursday.
I just need to
So-
get till June, and then Colin goes into daycare.
Oh.
And then I've got time, but until June,
So-
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday
I
afternoons.
can do Thursday, the 11th, but Thursday, the 4th, I have 3 meetings that day
Oh,
already.
okay. I'm free on the Thursday, the 11th of
Shoot for the
April.
11th.
What
Yep.
time do we want to say?
9-ish.
Yeah, let's do,
AM,
are we going to meet here or
Sure.
in the library? Okay.
let's say,
And usually there's no one conflicting at 9 AM. usually.
yeah, there's not a lot of committees that meet early. Council on Aging does, but they're at the senior center, so I think we're good.
Council on Aging. We're
They don't like
we're
driving at
the
night, I
Council
don't
on
blame
Aging.
them. Right.
So 9 o'clock on the 11th.
Yeah, which is a Thursday.
Okay.
And so I'll
Alright.
send the invite and that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Add it to my calendar. All right, should we adjourn?
Yes,
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second is,
yeah.
All in favor?
aye.
All right, thank you.
6:32.
All right,